Hello, hello. Thank you for being here with me. I'm recording my synthesis and vocal readings of passages most prominent to me from book 56 in my Book Week series, Abundance. The Future is Better Than You Think, by Peter Diamandis and Steven Kotler. Let's talk about perception. We perceive our situation in a certain way. We're constantly perceiving our surroundings and the situation we're in and adjusting our perception based on the stimulus that enters our system. Sometimes, maybe oftentimes, we confuse our perception with reality, forgetting that reality might be a bit different than the perception we've subscribed to. And this can lead to tumult. For instance, we can register fear in a situation that we're completely safe in. Our physiology can take over and convince us that we're in much more of a dire, dangerous situation than we're actually in. This book offers a very different collection of data and news than we're accustomed to receiving through the media. At the very least, it has a palate cleansing impact, and at the height of its potential potency, a thorough read of this book could change the degree of concern we have for future generations. Here's what it did for me. It reinforced my certainty that we should encourage and applaud creative solution making for how to navigate forward as a collective. Without further ado, I'll move on toward the vocal readings. Enjoy. Page 32. Quite simply, good news doesn't catch our attention. Bad news sells because the amygdala is always looking for something to fear. But this has an immediate impact on our perception. David Eagleman, a neuroscientist at Baylor College of Medicine, explains that even under mundane circumstances, attention is a limited resource. Imagine you're watching a short film with a single actor cooking an omelet. The camera cuts to a different angle as the actor continues cooking. Surely you would notice if the actor changed into a different person, right? 2/3 of observers don't. This happens because attention is a seriously limited resource. And once we're focused on one thing, we often don't notice the next. Of course, any fear response only amplifies the effect. What all of this means is that once the amygdala begins hunting bad news, it's mostly going to find bad news. Compounding this, our early warning system evolved in an era of immediacy when threats were of the tiger in the bush variety. Things have changed since. Many of today's dangers are probabilistic. The economy might nosedive. There could be a terrorist attack. And the amygdala can't tell the difference. Worse, the system is also designed not to shut off until the potential danger has vanished completely. But probabilistic dangers never vanish completely. Add in an impossible to avoid media continuously scaring us in an attempt to capture market share, and you have a brain convinced that it's living in a state of siege. Page 97. Imagine toilets that require no infrastructure, no pipes under the floor, no leach field under the lawn, no sewer systems running down the block. These high-tech outhouses powder and burn the feces and flash evaporate the urine, rendering everything sterile along the way. Rather than wasting anything, these toilets give back packets of urea for fertilizer, table salt, volumes of fresh water, and enough power that you can charge your cell phone while taking a crap, should the need arise. Tie these toilets into the smart grid, and the electricity can be sold back to the utility company, marking the first time in history that anyone has been paid to poop. As a final component, Do all this at a cost to the consumer of 5 cents a day. Now that's not just an upgrade, it's a revolution. I'm on page 127 and I'm reading about DIY makers across industries. DIY makers are now impacting just about every abundance-related field, from agriculture to robotics to renewable energy. Hopefully, you'll find this inspirational. One of this book's key messages is that anyone can take on a grand challenge. In less than 5 years, Chris Anderson went from knowing nothing about UAVs to revolutionizing the field. You too can start a community and make a contribution. This is page 172. I'll read a paragraph here and then skip down and read a bit more. There are reasons this chapter places an emphasis on solar power. It is pollution, carbon, and stigma-free. Should we be able to crack the storage infrastructure challenges ahead, sunlight is ubiquitous and democratic. There's more energy in the sunlight that strikes the Earth's surface in an hour than all the fossil energy consumed in 1 year. More importantly, if we want to achieve energy abundance, we need to choose technologies that scale, ideally, on exponential curves. Solar fits all of those criteria. I'm skipping down to here. Technology is making every electron go even further. Whether it's the smart grid making energy use 2 or 3-fold more efficient, or innovations like the LED light bulb dropping the energy needed to light a room from 100 watts to 5 watts, there is dramatic change ahead, with efficiencies lowering our usage and innovation increasing our supply. The combination really could produce a squanderable abundance of energy. Page 229. There will always be naysayers. People will resist breakthrough ideas until the moment they're accepted as the new norm. Since the road to abundance requires significant innovation, it also requires significant tolerance for risk, for failure, and for ideas that strike most as absolute nonsense. I'm on page 230. This will be the final passage that I read from this book. So if you're interested in solving grand challenges, driving breakthroughs, and changing the world, you'll need to get ready. Go to the gym, start working out your fearlessness muscles and thickening your skin against the rain of criticism to come. Most importantly, do not seek to change the world unless you seek it, to paraphrase the 19th century Indian mystic Sri Ramana Krishna, as a man whose hair is on fire seeks a pond. Ultimately, one must have passion and purpose in order to convince the world of anything, which is, of course, the first step to changing it. Next week, I return to externalizing study of a book a week with book 59, Panic Free, the 10-day program to end panic, anxiety, and claustrophobia by Tom Bunn. I'll be putting full-time, disciplined effort into offering treasures from these books in order that Biocadence members who don't have the capacity to read at such a high volume can still benefit from the tools that these books offer. And in order that Biocadence members can more aptly determine which books relate most closely to their unique life circumstances, and thereby be more motivated to read those books thoroughly themselves. Each weekday, I'll read for 2 to 3 hours, isolate the treasures that I find in that reading, loop in what other authors have had to say about the focus topics addressed in those treasures, then package this in a comprehensive way so that Biocadence members can spend 3 to 10 minutes per day on the material that took me many hours to maneuver through. Additionally, here are some of my future plans. In September, I'll begin to offer 1 to 2 hours per week for complimentary one-on-one expansion sessions. And in 2020, my goal is to start a podcast. I've already received offers to interview some of the authors that I feature on Biocadence, and I'm ruminating over the idea of interviews with Biocadence members so that the Biocadence community can open opportunity for informed interaction. I'm taking a leap in this work rather than re-entering the traditional workforce because I've determined that it's the optimal way for me to offer my love and a synthesis of all that I study to as many people as possible. It feels exhilarating and vulnerable. The support of Biocadence means so much to me. It feels like a symbol of faith that you think there's a place for this work and that I can do it. To become a member, go to biocadence.org.